Good morning, everybody. I've already been called a killjoy this morning, so I apologize for making the conversations come to an end. It is good to see you all here today. It is good to be together. It is good to hear the joy in your voices. That does my heart a lot of good, and I hope it does yours too. So, welcome. We're glad you're here. If you are joining us online, we are glad you are joining us as well. A special welcome to you all. It's always a good day when there's cinnamon rolls. If you haven't gotten them yet, they're still somewhat warm. So, thank you, Alyssa. They're gone. Never mind. Oh, there's a lot more. Wait, what did you say? They're not gone. There's lots more. So if you need a cinnamon roll to bring back your joy, go get them. It works, I promise. All right, a couple of things that you need to know about that's coming up here. Last week we were going to take the Christmas decorations down, but the weather had other plans for us, so it's still here. So Jack Frost. Thursday night of this week, we're gonna come back in this building and take down Christmas, like pretty solidly for sure this time. I don't think there's snow in the forecast, but it's Michigan. Who knows? So if you can join us, please sign up here. We'll do pizza at 6 o'clock, and then we'll start working at 6:30, and we'll get some things taken care of. That would be. It's fun to come together to do these projects when projects are kind of boring sometimes. It's always fun to do together. We hope you can make it to that. Right after worship this morning, if you are a Branch Kids volunteer or are interested in becoming a Branch Kids volunteer, we're going to have lunch and a little bit of a training downstairs. So you don't need to sign up. There will be plenty of food. So food, lunch, there's tacos, if that entices anybody to become a Branch Kids volunteer. I know, I was looking at you, Kevin. And then next week, the first full week of February, we're going to start dinner groups. We did this a few years ago, and we had some really great response to it. 2 or 3 households get together for 3 meals in February. That's it. That's as simple as it is. You eat together, you get to know each other, you have some time for conversation. It's fun. It is a great way to get to know some people that maybe you don't know very well or deepen some relationships. So if you would like to be a part of one of those groups, we do need you to sign up so we can put you in one of those groups. So use that QR code, go to your Church Center app. Either one will take you there. And then just a quick note, your Church Center app should give you most everything you need to know. Also, if you walk by this welcome desk quite often, most every morning you walk by it, there are a couple of great helpful resources back there. There's info about branch kids, there's info about branch students, there's some info about AYA, which is an organization in the city we support, but there's also these two documents. This Connect one will tell you about everything that's coming up, giving you spaces to connect. I'm going to say it again, it makes me giggle every time, so enjoy. And then a partner booklet, if that is of interest to you, of what it means to be a partner at the branch and that process of becoming one as well. All right, I am going to invite Stephanie. I saw her already. There she is. I didn't see you behind Katie. Stephanie is going to lead us in a call to worship this morning. And as a reminder, these are words we have spoken the last 2 weeks or heard or used in some way. So join Stephanie.
Come, people of God, just as you are. Bring your hearts, your joys, and your sorrows. Bring your fears, your hopes, and the emotions you suppress, ignore, or dismiss. Our emotions are gifts from the Creator, woven into the fabric of our being to reflect God's image. Yet we often push them aside, afraid of the weight or power. Jesus wept at the tomb of his friend. He rejoiced at the faith of his followers and groaned with compassion for the broken. He invites us to feel fully and deeply, to bring all of ourselves into his presence. Holy Spirit, move among us now. Awaken us to the emotions we've suppressed. Help us to name them, feel them, and offer them to you, that they may be transformed and integrated into lives of faith. Come, Lord, and make us whole. Let our hearts beat with the rhythm of your grace, our minds rest in your truth, and our emotions find their place in the life you call us to live.
The life that we are called to live is a life that requires honesty. And yet I want to read something to you that came across my email feed this week. And if you're curious, if you'd like to read this email, there's a QR code in your bulletin this morning that has this email available. It's from Richard Rohr, who's been a very helpful voice for me. Even though gasp, he's Catholic, his voice has been very, very important in my journey. And he sends out a daily email. Most of the time, he's the one writing. And this week, let me just read a little section from what he wrote, I think, on Wednesday. Organized religion is almost certain to create hypocrites. And that word literally means actors. Those who try to appear to be pure and good, or at least better than others. Jesus uses the word at least 10 times in Matthew's gospel alone. We are unconsciously trained to want to look good, to seek moral high ground, and to point out the speck in the other people's eyes while ignoring the log in our own. None of us lives up to all of our spoken ideals, but we have to pretend we do in order to feel good about ourselves and to get others of our chosen group to respect us. Organized religion is almost certain to create hypocrites. It's quite a statement, isn't it? But I think the ums in the room after I read it the first time would indicate that you maybe find some resonance with that idea. It's quite something that what religion often kind of moves us toward is this sense of superiority. That I'm better than you, I know what is right, I have the dogma, the doctrine, the practice figured out, and you don't. So let me tell you about what I know. If we are to be people of growth and people of love, then what is required, again, is honesty. An honest look at who we are as individuals, who we are when we gather in community, and then dealing with that, facing those things squarely. Whatever we might find when we honestly look at ourselves, facing those things head on, not trying to push them away or bury them or pretend they're not there. So the church, capital C, has often had this practice called confession, which probably has gone off the rails from time to time throughout our history, you know. But at its heart is meant to be a time in which we get honest, where we just carve out a little bit of space to check in and say, what is going on inside of me? How am I feeling? Where is my heart today? And again, maybe where is our heart? So I want to give us just a moment of space to check in and to be honest. And it may be helpful for you to find a posture that lets you kind of pay attention, to focus. I was taught it was this posture, you know. And it's not a bad posture. Maybe that's helpful for you this morning. Maybe it's a posture of openness in some way with your body, opening your hands. And to just check in. How are you feeling in this moment? Yes. How has this week been for you? Where was there joy? Where was there disappointment? Are there specks in your eye, maybe even logs today, that need some attention? Let me invite you to join me in this prayer. God, the issue is not whether or not you see who we are. You know us. And so there really is no hiding from you, even though we might try to think that we can. The hiding is usually just from ourselves and from each other. And I think deep down in each of us, God, is a desire not to live a life in which we act our way through it or pretend our way through it. When we try that, we realize it's very fatiguing and just not very meaningful. So help us to be people. Help us to be people who are honest. And when we are, whatever we might find, whatever we might uncover, help us to be people who surrender that to you, who lay it down, who offer it to your Spirit, believing that you can change us. We pray this in Jesus' name. Amen. Zeke, JP, you want to come on up? We're going to sing a song this morning that carries, I think, this idea forward a little bit. We've sung this many times here. The title is See the Love. And here's some of the words from the first verse. Every day we go to war again. We assume we know so much more than them. Right? There's that kind of elitism, that arrogance that can so easily slip in. Headline breaks, we start to hate again, calling them names again. We give our peace away. Yeah. So we invite you to let the words of these songs continue to move us in a direction of honesty and a direction of love. Why don't you stand with us if you're able this morning and sing.
To hate again, calling them names again. We give our peace away. I hope they see it, 'cause I wanna see it. Hope we believe. I wanna see the love all around you, all around you. I wanna know that love is all around you. It's all around you. Day by day, hope fades away, and then we know that there is pain within that we cannot medicate. Learn to feel, learn to begin again. Open our eyes again to see another's pain. I hope they see it, 'cause I wanna see it. Hope
have a seat, everybody. So this morning we do not have Branch Kids. It is a week that we take every month where we keep kids up here with us as a way of participating. And today they're definitely going to be able to participate with us. And so if you're a family with young kiddos, just know that's part of our rhythm. The last Sunday of the month, we have kids stay with us for the whole morning. So what that gives adults a chance to do in this next moment is to find a kid. Because you might not have a chance every week to say hello to a kid, and kids can seem scary, but they're not. They're not. And so let's stand. I had you sit down. Let's stand back up. Let's find somebody this morning, including maybe a child, and we'll greet each other this morning here for a few minutes.
Oh, good idea.
Numbers. Are there more than 50 people
I
here?
don't know. It didn't seem like there was. Can stand at the back and count.
You know my fear of running out of food
I know.
also applies to communion.
I know. And my fear is like
Also waste. There's also
4 signals. Yeah. 4 circles. I don't know. I feel like that might not be enough circles. We might like 5. So it's going to be fine. I'm like more hyped, or like not hyped. I'm more anxious right now than I've been the whole time.
interesting.
Yeah, just trying to pay attention, just letting you know. I think I like want it to be really good today, and I need to just set that aside.
But it will for whoever needs it.
I know, but it's like if I try to make something, that's what I gotta stop. What? Up higher?
No, not higher. No.
Lower.
No, it's just way off to the side.
I know. I thought you would like it better because I had a thing. I can put it right here.
It would be like here. It's just so unidirectional that.
Like that? Okay. Am I on? If you have me on.
You are on.
Okay. So I'll just invite you to find a seat. We are going to have a lot, I hope, of opportunity to connect today. That's the plan. I love it. It's perfect then. What? It's an interesting idea. Good morning. Good morning. So we are in our third Sunday paying attention to our emotions. And I just wanted to start by saying thank you to all of you. Really have appreciated doing this with you. That's how it's felt to me. And just been so gracious in letting me know how this is impacting you or what you're thinking about. And just for me, that really opens my heart. I can have a lot of guardedness around church, and to have this experience with you, it's what I know, it's who I know you to be. Like, you are people who are here because you actually want to participate in loving, and you're trying to, like, how do we do that more? And that's why I want to be here with you. And that's why I want to be in this conversation with you. But thank you. And also really thank you to Chris and Teresa for letting me do this and trusting me and not asking for notes, like checking up. And just to be transparent, like, this has put me through the ringer. If you're going to, like, talk about emotions for 3 weeks, you're going to feel some, or notice when you don't want to feel some, right? So I have really appreciated this opportunity with you. So thank you. We're going to start with a video, and the invitation as you watch this video is to just notice what happens inside.
There were moments of gold and there were flashes of light. There were things I never do again, but they always seemed right. There were nights of endless pleasure. It was more than I had lost in love. Baby, 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 I could see like this. And if you whisper like that, it was long ago, but it's all coming back to me. If you want.
Yeah. So just share out loud. Like, what do you notice? What happened inside you as you were watching that? You wanted to sing along? What else? Couldn't help but laugh out loud. So you, okay. But you felt the connection. Yeah, you would do that. Yeah, right? We can just, like, watch two other people that we don't know having this spontaneous moment of joy, and we feel it. Isn't that amazing? Science would tell us that we have these things called mirror neurons. I think there's a slide on this. They are brain cells, get this, that both react when a particular action is performed and also when it is only observed. Did you hear that? So these brain cells, they react when I perform. Like, my smile, parts of my brain respond when I smile. Those same cells respond when I see you smile. In other words, right, we have this innate ability to connect. It's how we've been created. So that video, as we're watching these two strangers, we don't know, I don't know them, somebody sent that to me. I do know the song. Enjoy that moment together, right? What's happening? The mirror neurons in me are firing. I know connection. I know spontaneous. I know singing to Celine Dion. And so just witnessing this impacts me. This is the science of connection, but this is this foundation, right, of what it's like to be in life in a relationship together. So we're in this third week. We're thinking about our emotional lives. We started by considering emotions as biological responses that are actually happening, whether we're connected to them or not. Last week, we talked about how these emotional experiences are really driving our behaviors and our patterns, and that they can become really automatic, and we are organized as distress managers. And so we talked about how having slowness and curiosity is what we need in order to have some choice around how this really can play out, how we live in our life. And today, this is my favorite part. I just really want us to consider the significance of relationships in all of this. We have this innate, created, I would say magical, power to connect. And this connection with other people that in the world of neuroscience we name co-regulation is the most effective way to live wholeheartedly in this world. In this fancy theory called polyvagal, Stephen Porges, who is the scientist who developed it, describes relationships in terms of safety and threat or distress management, such that in a safe social space, he would say, in his theory, I can engage with what I need and I can travel into deeper challenges with less fragility. He said in his theory, and there are other researchers supporting this, that our relationships, the secure, the safe ones, act like a tether, right? So I can keep traveling out further and still have an experience of safety. And it's this co-regulation, this togetherness, the experience of safety in a felt way that makes a difference in how we live and how we're able to love. Here's a quote from Stephen Porges from his book. He says that the most significant threat to our health and relationships is staying caught in unnecessary threat responses. This is a little wave to what we talked about last week, right? We have these automatic patterns based on what we're sensing that are just happening automatically. It's kind of how we've learned, how we've been conditioned. Without the slowness and curiosity, they'll keep happening. Okay, so this is the most significant threat to us. So shifting quickly out of threat responses, once they are not needed, is the key to long-term physical and relational health. And how do we shift out of these, right? We said last week, right, one thing is we got to slow down, we got to have some curiosity. But the most efficient way to do this is this co-regulation. It's with someone else. It's a highly efficient way to shift out of this unnecessary response. It will help us stay steady under a threat, in distress. And then we might even, with the support of others, be able to shift into a more like actually adaptive state, presence, for the task at hand and avoid burnout. We can do all this for each other. Another researcher, John Gottman, huge relationship expert, in his book, The Science of Trust, he describes how our ability to manage the physical response we have to distress deeply influences our ability to connect. Remember, we talked about that week 1. Emotions are physical, they're biological. And likewise, the flip side is that our ability to connect deeply influences our ability to respond to the distress, to sense them. So hopefully this is starting to sound familiar and make sense, right? We're studying emotions. We're beginning to understand that our ability to sense what's happening, to be curious about these emotional signals is influencing our behavior. So it maybe would seem obvious, too, that this would impact our relationships. But maybe the second part is less obvious, that accessing safe and supportive and accepting relationships directly impacts your ability to sense and be curious about what's happening inside. Here's a slide with a feedback loop for you, for our visual learners, right? My ability to sense my emotional signals really impacts how I connect with you, and connecting with you then deeply impacts how I can sense my emotional signals, and it builds. It goes in reverse too, right? But we're focusing on how we can really live into this positively so we can love more. The more I'm aware, the more I'm available to honest connection, and the more honest, non-acting connection I have access to, the more I'm aware of my experience. Quick example of this. Yesterday, I'm driving with Ruby. I was in a mood, and not a great one. She made a small mistake, and I responded very intensely, not matching the level of the mistake. Thank you for helping me study this intently for 3 weeks. I was really cued in, like, oh, you are about to go off the rails. So I had some sense of my emotional signals. You're tight. Something's bothering you. You gotta slow down and be curious. So I was able to shush. That's what I could do. Don't say anything else. Thankfully, Ruby was able to be kind of sweet to me, right? She was kind of asking questions. I could offer like one-word answers, not a ton, but like I wasn't making it worse, right? This is what was possible. If I had avoided how I was feeling, what was going to happen was I was going to criticize every single thing. She was going to get feedback from me every turn, every break, every whatever, which would have been really uncomfortable, probably pissed her off, and we would have ended that drive against each other, right? Instead, what happened? It wasn't perfect. I don't want you to think it was perfect. But because I could slow down, because she could be accepting of me and kind to me, then I could be pleasant-ish. It's true. I wish I could have done better. The truth is, I could have leaned into her more. She was available. I didn't, but it didn't explode. And that's what's possible here, right? Somebody accepts you. She knows mom sometimes gets in weird moods, right? She didn't let it throw her, and that really helped us. In the psychological world, we have a lot of words for this. There's a cloud slide next. We like to study things like attachment styles, which are based on our early relationship experiences, how they affect us as we grow. I mentioned the polyvagal theory. That's the lens we've used a lot in the last couple weeks. It's really considering the physiological impact of connection and safety. We use words like emotional agility, empathy, co-regulation, brain-body connection, all of these to describe patterns. In fact, when you study to be a psychotherapist, you learn about something called therapeutic alliance. It describes the connection between counselor and client. And in research, do you know that they have found that the most significant thing from the therapist side that you can offer that could positively impact a client's outcome, as much as the therapist is a part of that, is this therapeutic alliance. It's not level of education. It's not years of experience. It's not the interventions that are offered. It's how much safety can the therapist offer, and it's mutual, can be built together in this relationship. That's the change maker. In the Christian world, next slide, I think the words we have for this are about love and community. In fact, I would argue that even the idea of having a church is rooted in the very truths that now science is supporting about connection and relationship. In Hebrews 10, the author explicitly states, he says, don't give up meeting together. Right? This is a time when the people who were following Jesus were actually facing a lot of distress. Things were pretty uncertain. People were thinking about like, maybe we go back to the way we used to do stuff. And he says, you gotta keep meeting together if you're gonna get through this. And the Bible is full of stories like this, right? Starts in the Garden of Eden when it's like, let's have 2 humans instead of 1. Right? Ruth and Naomi, Moses and Aaron, Esther and Mordecai, Paul and Silas. Jesus asking his disciples to go with him to pray when he knows he's about to face something really distressing, that he isn't going to be able to change. And what does he reach for? His friends. Like, be with me in this. In fact, our Christian lens of God, the God of the universe, is this relational being that is 3 in 1. The whole thing is built on connection. So we started this series acknowledging the complexities facing us today, right? That we are going to need to move beyond what we've been doing, what's been limiting us, so that we can really participate actively in love. And part of what we need to do that is develop in ourselves some awareness around what are my emotional signals, what's happening to me. We need to practice slowness and curiosity so we can, like, what's the pattern that's taking over here right now? And the easiest, most efficient way for us to do this is together. Because some of these emotions that we're facing are pretty uncomfortable, right? Like disappointment and hurt and shame, especially shame, right? It sends a message that we don't even get the right to belonging to a group. That our mistakes are too big to be included. And if people really knew who I was, they wouldn't want to be around me. And those feelings can really spiral and be really difficult to be curious about on our own. But the only antidote I know to that shame spiral is somebody who's like, I got you. And that's what the science is saying. It's like, if I can access safety, if I can find steadiness, I could actually move out of my shame response, out of my threat response. And I want to tell you, I have a very personal experience around this. I can talk about it now only because of having the work of relationship. But if we had tried to have this conversation in 2019, I want to be very transparent. I wouldn't have been able to talk about it. I really have some deep shame, or did, around unanswered email. It's a real thing for me. I know it's not about, like, I need you to know that I was very burdened by avoiding email, and if I would miss an email, I was very burdened by, oh no, what will that person think of me? Just the kind where, like, I would feel sick to my stomach when I would open my email box, and also I just wouldn't open it. That's how thick it was. So, I brought this eventually, took a long time, to like try it out with my own therapist, just to be like, I have this thing I'm really embarrassed by. I feel a lot of shame around it. I feel like I'm letting people down. That built a little tether, right? So she didn't abandon me. And then her invitation to me was like, you got to find somebody that you believe you can actually tell about this and they will love you. It was hard. But I have this amazing friend, Heather, and that's who I went to. And I was like, I'm stuck. And I'm embarrassed and I'm stuck. And she's like, okay, let's meet. I'm going to bring my computer, you bring your computer, and let's just see what we can do. It wasn't quite as simple as that, but actually it was as simple as that. And so we just sat together, and like probably 30 minutes of me talking about how I didn't want to do it. And then like I answered a few. And the thing is, right, there are consequences to that behavior. It's not like I wasn't going to have to face the people I had disappointed. That's the thing I was trying to avoid. It's just being in the presence of Heather was like, I'll be okay. Like, I'll be okay. And we did it many, many weeks in a row, months in a row. And enough of that, feeling that steadiness, I've really grown. I can talk about it. And I'm not sweating right now, which is amazing. And I'm decently caught up on my email, which is ultimately the growth edge too, right? It sounds simple. I wish you could know how sick I was about it and how terrible I felt. And the only thing that could change it wasn't like I needed a new strategy on how to do email. Like, I knew all that stuff. The only thing that could get me out was a relationship, a connection, somebody who's like, it's fine, you suck at email. Let's not pretend. Let's do this together. So, for the rest of today, I want us to practice some co-regulation and connection. We're going to experiment through some very simple practices about how we change when we have some connection with other people. Depending on your history with relationships, this may not sound great to you right now, and that's okay. I want to say right now, nobody has to do anything. You can simply watch, right? Because mirror neurons also work. So you have access to that. No one is forced to do anything. And I really want to encourage us that practicing together is what's going to help us feel steady for what's ahead. And if you're looking at the world right now and wondering, like, how do I walk in this? This might be a beginning step. So we're going to do this in a couple parts. The first thing I want you to do is kind of break up and rearrange your chairs in groups of 2 or 3. All ages can participate in this. And you can do this with someone you know very well or someone you don't know at all. Ready, go. You have like 15 seconds according to the clock if you could. You got this. And remember, you can also Mirror, you can watch. If you're on Zoom and you have somebody with you, I would invite you to practice this together. Otherwise, I'm going to invite you on Zoom to also do the mirror neurons. Watch the group. And you can rearrange the chairs, break them up. Okay. So we are going to use some words, but we're mostly going to use movement and motion as a way of kind of experiencing this connection from the bottom up. So the first thing we're going to do is this little practice called reaching for the earth. And together, silently, you don't need any words, you're just going to, in your chair, how do I model this? You're going to be sitting, and you're just going to press your heels into the ground, kind of pulsing. We're going to do that for about 30 seconds together. So start that now. You're just pressing your heels into the ground. As you press, you should feel your thighs kick on a little bit. Good, and rest. Okay, so for the next practice, we're going to do something called sits bone rock. It's a swaying movement. One person is going to be the leader, and one person or two people are going to be the follower. Okay? So you'll have to decide whose role that is. I'm going to be the timekeeper. I really should have a chair. You're going to sit in your chair, and the person who's the leader, can you help me? I'll lift this one. There we go. The person who's the leader is going to just slowly, well, actually whatever pace you want, sway from side to side in a rhythm that feels good to you. The person who's the follower, thank you, Kevin, is going to mirror. He's going to try to match me as much as he possibly can, to the point that feels okay in his body. Thank you. Yes, Kevin. Okay. Honestly, though, it feels so good. Okay, so we're going to do that. Then I'm going to invite you to pause, and then we'll switch roles. If you don't want to practice this, you don't have to, but observe and notice what you observe. So take a minute to organize leader and follower. And then leaders, when you're ready, go ahead and begin. And then mirrors or followers, you're going to copy. And rest. Now just take a moment here, and leaders, I want to invite you to say one thing about what that was like for you. After you've shared, followers, you say what that was like for you. Leader starts. Okay, now I want to switch roles. So if you were the follower, you're going to be the leader. If you were the leader, you're going to be the follower. Same thing. You get to kind of feel the rhythm that's good for you as leader, and followers, you just try to mirror it as best that you can. Ready, go. And rest. And again, same thing. I'm going to invite you to share what that was like. Leader, you share first. Okay, we're going to do one more in this model. So if you are a group of 3 or 4, I would invite, if the person wants to, right, have somebody new. Make sure everyone gets a chance to be the leader if you want to. It's fine if you don't want to. This one is called hands, mirror, breath. So as leader, you're going to inhale and open your hands with your inhale. And as you exhale, you're going to close your hands. And you just get to breathe normally. You don't have to, nothing crazy, right? So you're just going to mirror, just do what your breath is doing and then closing. As follower, you're going to try to match this. Here's a little tip, though, as follower. People breathe at different rates. It's only co-regulation if we're both kind of in it together, right? So if the breath pattern of the other person is uncomfortable for you, you do not have to make it happen. Try to keep your hands matching their hands, but breathe in a way that's supportive to you. Does that make sense? Really mirroring the hands is what will have the impact. So pick who's going to lead. And then we start. Hands, mirror, breath. And rest. Same rhythm here. If you were the leader, why don't you say what that was like for you, and then follower. So we're going to do this last round together. We're flipping. So one more person gets to be leader. And followers, same thing. You're just moving your hands, stretching them out with the inhale, closing them with the exhale. Go ahead and begin. And rest. I just want to point out, can you feel how like the air is almost different right now? Okay, so go ahead again. Leader, you get to share first how it was for you, and then follower. So we're going to move into one more big practice together. And for this practice, we need to make circles of about 8 to 10 people, essentially about 4 big circles. So 2 big ones up front, 2 big in the back. It will be best if you can kind of see each other, but arrange it however you can. It's okay to move the chairs. 60 seconds to arrange. Go. You don't have to be in chairs, but it might be most comfortable. I'm going to give you these for this circle. I'm going to give you this for your circle. I'm going to give you this for your circle, yes. And I'm going to give you these for your circle. Once you're in your circle, there's a sheet with a bunch of emotion words. Everybody needs one. Yes. I think it might feel good to be all together, actually. Or, yeah. I mean, it is okay. Okay, so in this circle, we're going to put it together somewhat. What we're starting with is, again, first of all, this is a choice. You do not have to participate. So if it gets to your turn around the circle and you'd rather not, just be like, I pass. And we're all here for that. You get to pass, right, group? Everybody got, so this is all opt in, opt out. So in this sheet, you're going to look at 2 experiences that you had, 2 words that would describe something you experienced this week. And you simply have the invitation to say those 2 words out loud to the group. Group, when you hear the person say those words, if that in some way connects to you, like, I know I felt that, or I know what that feels like, give some sort of physical gesture. Either a thumbs up, yeah, I get that, a hand on your heart, maybe jazz hands. I mean, it can be anything, but some sort of physical gesture that lets the person you shared know, yeah, I get you. We're going to do that round 1, and then we have one more practice together. Whomever's brave in your circle, if you would begin, 2 things you experienced today, or this week. That's exactly right. Yes. And you just have to say the word. You don't have to say the whole sentence. It's just the words. You can do both. 2 words together, yeah. And I do want to pause and say, hey, make sure you get a chance to see who's giving you the gestures, right? That matters. Keep going. If your circle gets done earlier, you can go around again if you want. So as you are finishing your circle, and I don't want to step on toes, so maybe another 10 seconds or so. We're going to move into some connection around communion. I brought, hopefully there's enough, in each circle wave if there's not, but by somebody there's the bread and the cup, the grape juice. And we're going to do this in our circles today, really trying to connect to the spirit of where this practice even originated from, which again is like this lens of Jesus facing something stressful and terrible and wanting to spend time with his people as he goes towards it, right? And it's this very relational practice, like even in the essence of it, as Jesus is inviting, like this is a way to remember me, or remember relationship with me, remember connection around this table together. And we get to do that together in our small circles, in our big circle. We also get to do this in a way like thinking about all the people across the city that are doing this morning, our nation, across the world who do this practice, people who've been doing this practice for centuries, right? As a way of experiencing some sort of connection. So I'm going to invite you to pass it around. I snuck a few gluten-free crackers on each plate, so let me know if you don't have enough of those, so that everybody has the piece of bread and the cup. And then we're going to do it all at once and together. So first, just pass it around your circle. And then I just want to invite you, as you're holding these things in your hand, to really feel them, feel the weight of them. And in that sort of physical connection to what we're holding, then maybe from there, just gently kind of let your eyes look around your circle or around the room, right? This is a symbol of connection, of being connected, and we have this opportunity to lock arms together, to support each other in an effort of being love, receiving love, of participating in this world. So I'm going to invite you to eat and drink together, remembering your connection. At the end of our service, I'll take the little black basket that we have for these cups, and I'm just going to set it back by the computer back there, and you can drop yours in. I've loved doing this with you. And actually, my mirror neurons were like zinging. I want to share a piece of music with you as we close today. It's a song that would be very easy to kind of write off as some sort of boppy love song. I want to invite you to consider it as something very different, which is a song about connection and co-regulation. We're going to play it in a moment. For those of you at Zoom, we have this QR link so you can link to it. Because although we have the license to be able to play it together in this room, we don't have the license to live stream it. That costs very much money. So you have a link for Zoom so you can find the video too when we watch it. This video is of Ben Rector and Cody Fry, two artists, and the song is called When I'm With You. I want you to hear the lyrics first because the words are so important. I go a little crazy sometimes. Can you believe it? Yeah, I swear I'm fine, that I'm all right, but I'm barely breathing. I thought I could find my way back home, but I get lost alone. But when I'm with you, I'm no longer wandering. Because when I'm with you, I swear I can breathe. When I'm with you, I know who I am, and I know who I want to be. Isn't that the essence, right? It's like, I think I can do this by myself. I tell you I'm fine. I'm lost in some sort of pattern of who knows what. Avoided email. But with you, right, I know who I am and who I can be. I don't have to wander. The second verse says, I can fake it on my own, but I get lost alone. This is the sentiment of being alone. But when I'm with you, co-regulation, connected, I'm no longer wandering. When I'm with you, I swear I can breathe. So we're going to watch this together. Here's a couple lenses for you to watch. The first is just watch with your mirror neurons. These are two musicians who love playing together. You're going to be able to see that and see their interaction. So notice what that's like to see all these musicians on stage celebrating their own music, the words, the sentiment together. So that's one way to watch. The second is to really kind of listen to these lyrics, to feel into, hey, when I'm alone, I'm lost, but when I'm with you, I can breathe. And then the third would be, what's it like to just watch something beautiful? And notice how that impacts you. So let's watch this together.
much better of a musician it made me to create with somebody else. So if that's true, then how much better of a person can I be? A person who lives more deeply into love when I connect with you all and we create a really beautiful world together. My optimistic heart is firing on all cylinders right now. So can you join me in thanking Bethany here for the last 3 weeks?
Books back there, some books. So if you want to look, if you want to borrow one, let me know. I'm probably going to say yes. But there's books back there, and then there's also a QR code with some other resources. So if you want to look at that, help yourself.
Thank you.
Yeah.
I know you said it was you thanked us for the opportunity, but it was beneficial and meaningful and lovely and wonderful. So thank you. It is always a gift to have a different voice than Chris or I, but for you to be willing to do that for 3 weeks and how you helped us engage in that was a pretty massive gift. So thank you. Just one more thing that I have to mention before we go. We have a fundraiser coming up, and we say this all the time, right? We're better doing things together than we are on our own. And we could have just said, hey, we need to raise some money, but we thought we'd have some fun together and make a little game out of it and have prizes and joy and levity. So our fundraiser is coming here in February. This is for a few things that go above and beyond our normal budget stuff. It helps the live stream have a better experience. If you'll notice, the camera's in the back and not in the front anymore because some things have failed. So we need some new equipment to help make that experience a better one. The cafe is going to get a lovely facelift in there to make it a more welcoming and hospitable space. Here's how you can help right now. In your Church Center app, there is let's call it a landing page for all things fundraiser. There's going to be a link, hopefully tomorrow, for something that you can sign up for. We've been asking for prizes to donate to this fundraiser. It's going to be the square model of fundraiser. Do y'all know this? Like, you pick a number and you pay that amount. 1 is $1, 5 is $5, right? And some random ones will have gifts behind them. I've seen the list of gifts that have come in. They're so fun. And they're like all different kinds of things. There's a list of books. There's handyman services. There's a cake. So something for everybody, really. If you could contribute something, that would be amazing. If you can contribute some babysitting hours or some shoveling or lawn mowing or something like that. Or if you have a gift card in your house that you know you're never going to use, or you want to go out and purchase something, we would love to know about that. You can talk to Chris or I. Sarah Grushka, she's not here today, but she is the one collecting all of these things. We're also going to have a list of items, like very specific items that you can donate, so Sarah can put together some baskets. That will be coming for you as well. But really, pay attention to this in your Church Center app, and you will have all of the updated information. Okay? All right. As we go today, friends, may we be people who lean into one another, who always lean into connection, so that we can feel what we feel, so that we can move forward tethered to one another, even if we're not physically present to one another. We are always tethered to one another and to the divine love that is each of ours every single day. Go be those people in the world. Thanks for being here, everybody. Good to see you.